like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it away tonight. We gonna let it away tonight. We gonna let it just like the sunrise. We gonna let it away. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it away tonight. We gonna let it away tonight. We gonna let it just like the sunrise. We gonna let it away.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town.
Alright. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Silverstone. Well, I say another Silverstone race. It's been a while since we've been here, but welcome to another Amigos Racing League Monday series. And today we are introducing our new class here, which is the Porsche Cup car. Probably the most entertaining car to drive in the entire game. No traction control on a very wet track. It's going to get interesting to see how that one pans out here. As once again, I am joined by Radio. What's up, Radio? How's it going?
Hello, hello. We're going very well. How are you?
I am absolutely brilliant. And then we've also got a special guest. You might have heard of him before. Chris Tedder's also here, joining us for quali. Now he's afraid to talk, of course. It's always like that. And have you admired all the new liveries yet? Oh, man. There's also an Audi out on track. I don't know who that is, but somebody better call him back. Who's
Who is
that?
it, mate?
I am checking. It's Yusupov who's out on track. Tiger Yusupov in the Audi. When he shouldn't be. Anyways, Harry Howard says, evening everyone. Tommaso Bocci says, hello. Hello everybody. I hope you guys are all doing great. And welcome to a very wet Silverstone, I suppose. It's going to be an absolute blast here. Now, for the people that don't know how we run these leagues, these are 65, 75 and 90-minute races around the tracks all over the world. This time we've got a mandatory pit stop for tires as well as a minimum of 25 seconds in terms of pitting time. So even if you go for just 1 liter of fuel, you have to pit for a long time. And we've also narrowed the pit window by quite a bit here. 20 minutes where everybody's going to have to go in. And so that's going to be chaotic to say the least. And I'm excited for the new changes here. I hope you know what's going on here. Radios is obviously your first time doing a regular season, as you've only joined me to do the special events so far. So yeah, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, feeling good about it. I've had a bit of a briefing there with Chris just before everything, and of course we have your spotter's guide as well. So feeling pretty confident, and definitely some names that I've seen before in our previous 2 races. So look forward to see how they fare out here in the typical format, I suppose it would be.
Yeah, this is how we normally run things. The special events are something we run at the end of every season. Sometimes those are, well, esports related event, but we've also had a couple events where we do, we bring the old generation cars out, or we bring the M2s out, or the GT4s, and we just have a blast doing so. Although that might depend on who you ask, of course. But yeah, generally speaking, those are always a lot of fun as well. But now it's good to be back to normal and serious racing here. We've got a beautiful calendar laying out here, starting off at Silverstone before headed to the Nürburgring GP layout for our next one. So let's see how this one goes, shall we? We've got a lot of new drivers on the grid here, especially in the GT3 Amateur. We've got quite a couple new ones. We've got a couple drivers changing cars, which is always interesting to see as well. And I'm already looking at one driver that I expect to be quick out there. It's Dominic Giese. Wasn't scared to pick the GT2 last season. He had the KTM Crossbow, and now he's changed over to the Porsche Cup. So once again, not driving any of the regular cars. Let's see how he will be able to do, of course. Now, there is a total of 10 minutes that the Porsche Cup cars have before all the GT3s come out as well. And all the Porsche Cups will have to come in. And, well, to me, the Porsche Cups are always awesome. First of all, they're risky to drive. You're always on the limit. And second of all, the thing that I think makes them so great is the sound. They just sound absolutely amazing. They always have. I had the pleasure of watching them live for the first time. I believe that was at Donington Park. Yeah, it was at Donington Park, I believe, in the UK. Absolutely brilliant. And, well, soon getting to see them again at Zandvoort. So, yeah. Some of my favorite cars, at least, but let's see how quick they will actually be compared to the GT3s as the first times are coming in as we speak here.
Curious to see. So we have, as you said, 10 minutes, just Porsche Cup cars. We'll be watching here first.
Yeah, 10 minutes, and then we've got the GT3s coming all out for 20 minutes here. As you look at Rigatti, goes to second place, only 0.005 of a second slower than the driver on current pole position. So, well, they've got some work to do. Over that is a very promising start as well for Gianluca Rigatti. Now, I've been told that he's done a full season in the Porsche Cup cars, so in terms of practice, he should definitely have an advantage over the other drivers here. But we'll see how these things pans out. What you say, Chris?
It's also worth noting, lads, that obviously the Porsche Cup cars won't have any tyre blankets on, so they're going to spend a lap or two getting these tyres into some form of working temperature. So with only 10 minutes, they're not actually going to get very many flying laps in.
So that means they're going to be even more dangerous to drive.
I reckon they're going to get a maximum 2/3 proper laps in, let's say 2 laps of really going for it. And if they mess one of them up, then it's going to be 1 flying lap to let it time down.
So on the edge, you will have to be. The times they're currently doing are 2:08. Now to put that into perspective here, I've got the GT3 lap record right in front of me, which is a 158.1. So we are roughly 10 seconds slower as we speak. But obviously the conditions are suboptimal. Any Porsche cars obviously have a little bit of less downforce. They've got no traction control. So honestly, I think we're already quite rapid up the pace here. As we are watching Dominic Gies get teleported back into the pits, it appears. Oh, no, there he is again. It's just my ACC having a great time. Crosses the line. And will be third from now on. As now it's a matter of waiting to see that big group coming in there. Obviously trying to use that slipstream boost, that going very, very slightly across. I believe that was John Dudley in the background that we saw almost lose control of the Porsche Cup early. Now keep in mind there's only 3 minutes left to qualify here, so we'll have to do good there. Aaron Holloway struggling to get the car around as well, where it just shows how incredibly difficult it is to get these cars going. And well, the cold tires, no traction control, the damp conditions. Also, are you going to go out on wets or are you going to go out on slick tires? No matter what you do, you're going to be struggling for grip here. Holloway goes up to 6th fastest for now, as it's a matter of waiting for the other drivers to come in here. Richard Christie pushed down to 6th as well, but immediately goes back up to 4th as well. So the lap times are improving, as it's now waiting for Szymon Kowalski to get around in his golden Porsche Cup car. And he's currently already the fastest out there, but he would love to improve on that, I bet.
Yeah, and well, you were mentioning the dangerous conditions, and I had a peek at Kowalski a second ago, and he had kind of a similar condition on his previous lap. So I think it's all a bit of a getting used to it sort of thing here, as my ACC also acting a little funny. So
yeah, welcome to a set of course a competition.
Shout out Kowalski's livery as well.
Oh yeah,
Gold's running the new Amigos livery, but with the gold livery for winning the championship last season in the GT2.
Oh, that's why it is. Oh, that's brilliant actually. Nice little detail there. All from the insider knowledge of Chris Tedder, of course. Because the usual ones are dark blue, if I'm not mistaken, with the gold accents, or well, the yellow that we've got in the new Amigos Racing League logo.
Yeah, I think we're getting down into the 207s on Thursday, so I wouldn't be surprised some lays in another time.
That will be interesting, to be fair, as Thomas Merrifield has gone off and has reset into the pits here. No improvement coming in from him, which means he's currently 8th fastest in the Porsche Cup out of the 10 cars that we've got on the grid here. So, well, it won't be easy for him to do well here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him start from the back here, which is a little bit of a shame. But that's just how these Porsche Cups are. And I mean, we've both noticed it. I was standing next to him at Donington. Well, I was sitting next to him rather, as we had to shelter for the awful British weather, which you also see right in front of your screen. But yeah, we noticed it as well. They are so unforgiving. I think this is living proof of that here. John Dudley starting a new lap now, hoping to be improving. And the delta for Szymon Kowalski looking quite positive here as well. He makes a small mistake. Is he going to be quicker? If he times it right, he could be half a second quicker. Now it's going to go down to 2/10 maybe then, if he goes across nicely. Yeah, it's going to be a 2/10 improvement here for Szymon Kowalski, further solidifying his position in, it appears. And actually, as to say that, no, I stand corrected. I was in a validated lap.
I think it's also worth noting as well, obviously being the start of the season, that when you look at the standards, the different colours.
Yeah, like the.
Oh, yeah, so you got the little triangular piece in the bottom right hand corner next to the red, which is the Porsche Cup cars.
Yep.
And you got the white backgrounds with the black writing. They are the split one drivers. And then obviously you got the silver background, the white writing. They are the split two drivers. So people are not actually flying for points against people in different splits. It's only against people in the same split.
Yeah, so as you mentioned just now, those are actually the same as that I have in front of me here on the sheets. So often when you have that little corner like cut out, that means it's a special car. It's either a GT2 or a Porsche Cup or a TCX or a GT4. I think those are all that we have. At least in ACC as far as it goes right now. Maybe one day we'll get something else, but doesn't appear for it now. And now this is my time to also show off a couple of the new drivers that we've got. We are aboard with Craig Starkey here in the Bentley Continental GT3 Now, that's a car I haven't seen in a long while. Chris, I gotta think. Was there one on the grid last season? I don't think there was, right?
No, there wasn't one last season, but obviously with us reapplying the Bob this year, for this season, it's reopened up some of the older cars that people like to drive.
Yeah, and obviously it's one of the few right-hand side drive cars as well. Now that's obviously ideal if you're from the UK. And, well, I'm curious to see where they all end up here. So all the GT3s are out. David Hill with his updated livery, the World of Racing. It's no longer the Scottish colors on the car. No, this time it's nice and red, black and white. I wonder what the specific meaning behind it is, but it's definitely promoting something here. Is it a racing team? Has he joined the team?
Yeah. No, he's been part of the Chico race group. So, yeah, World of Racing is a racing team.
So
Chico do race.
Is Chico in the livery as well? Then let's see. No, he's not. He's in the of course livery. All right, that's interesting here. As everybody's just kind of parked up for now, people going wide and trying to get around into each other. Everybody wants that space to try and get out there. And Tomaso Bocci pointed out in chat right now as well. You have two options here. It is either pole position or hitting a wall. So yeah, pretty spot on for the Porsche Cup cars at least. As all the cars are just waiting to get a lap in. Everybody's just waiting for some kind of space here around the track. Now that will be difficult as well here. Right? Some drivers already on that fast lap now and rapidly approaching. But there's really is very little space to go for. So interesting to see how that one will pan out here. It's a very busy track, of course, as always. We've got 43 drivers on the grid as we speak. And if I'm not mistaken, that means that 2 of 3 splits are full, right? And there was one that has like 2 spots left.
Oh no, the actual league itself is completely maxed out for 52 drivers.
Ah, right.
So Monday is maxed out. There's no more room.
Yeah,
it's just a case of then who's turned up.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's 15 spots per split and then 10 for the cup cars, if I'm not mistaken, or...
No, 21 and 21 it worked out, and then 10 for the cup cars. So these splits ended up in the end. What we tend to do, we shuffle them around a little bit depending on who's signed up to make sure people are in the correct split.
Alright, that's actually pretty smart. Now, curious to see who comes out on top. We've got a new couple Dutch drivers on the grid as well, which I always love to see. This is Sander Jacobs we're aboard with, representing QRT Esports, a esports team that hadn't been racing with us before here. Always good to see a couple, and definitely a Red Bull inspired livery, at least color scheme wise. As of course we've also got the new GT3, well, the new GT3 side, that's probably not what I should say, but the regular Porsche GT3s out there. Those are, they look pretty similar to the Cup cars, but they've actually got traction control and they have a lot more downforce. And I think they might be slightly more powerful as well here, as this is Damian Konchik, a driver here for Big Brain Racing, who is joining us for, I believe, the first time, if I'm not mistaken. And he's been placed in the pro split here, so curious what he can do. And Terry Fredrickson already with a statement here, joining for the first time around and already putting in a pole position, at least provisionally, as we are roughly halfway through the session, which means the GT3s have had 5 minutes to qualify yet, whereas the rest are, well, already back in the pits, of course, just waiting for the race to start in about 15 minutes. So you can already see the Porsche Cups are slowing down, at least not necessarily slowing down, but they are obviously, you know, slower in terms of lap times, and that means that all the GT3s are slowly but surely overtaking. So, yeah, anyways, I heard somebody connect. Are you back, Radio, or what's going on?
Yeah, I am back. Yep. My ACC started working and my Discord stopped, so it's always one or the other, I guess, it seems like. So
It's not too heavy of a game, is it?
No, the last 2 weeks have been totally fine, and then the regular season starts, and for some reason it just decides to throw everything on its head. But I think we're back.
It's Murphy's Law, right?
Yeah. All the preparation and everything was okay, and then...
See, this only happens when I actually do preparation. When I do no preparation, right, you know, nothing goes wrong. So perhaps this is the last time I'll ever send you a sheet.
As it should be, yeah. Clearly it, you know, destroys my computer. And so.
And Gilroy going a little bit wide. It's going to be his lap ruined now. As all the fast lads are just joining in here right now. This is Elliot Watts we're aboard with. He is just about to set his first lap in as well. He's currently quite slow compared to what he normally does, so it's not going to be a stellar lap coming in from him yet. And that's yet, because we all know he's really quick, and I think Chris Stetter knows and can't confirm that. Actually, he's still second place, so maybe the delta was incorrect then.
Keep an eye out for it this season. Yeah, I mean, he'll be one to watch as the season goes on. Along with his teammates, to be fair, they will put the time in practicing.
Oh, they're sort of the opposite of you, because you spend all your time on iRacing nowadays.
Oh, I don't know what you're on about, mate.
Yeah, there's no shame in that, by the way, although I should have noted that down on the call sheet as well. League owner, owned him in breakfast is what I've got noted down as well, and professional iRacing driver. But
hey, I race on Thursday. That gets me a cycle lap in for the Monday.
oh yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten around to anything yet. I mean, I had the trial, like the 1 month trial, and I really enjoyed it, but like the cost is just getting me out of it, right? It's just so much, and well, it became a little bit painful, to be honest. I really want to race there, but it's not happening. This is Adrian Hanovic. That is also one of the drivers to watch, according to Chris here. So a teammate of Elliot Watts, and has joined us in the Ferrari 296 GT3 this time. It's not going to be quicker, but there will be plenty of time to do it again, I suppose. Just going to be a matter of time to see where it actually ends up. This is Aaron Sparks, and Aaron Sparks had been in the GT2 last season and now finds himself in a GT3. And not just the GT3, he's actually in the Ferrari here. I've told him, hey, why don't you try out something else? Why don't you try out something different? And tried a couple cars, some a little bit more crazy than others. The NSX was one that he tried, but obviously that didn't really go anywhere.
This was on your council?
Sorry?
You counseled them to try something different?
No, I was like, you should try something. And then he tried everything himself, and he was like, yeah, no, the Honda NSX isn't it, because it's a death trap and a half, and it's also slow. Chris knows a little bit about it. I think he ran a season or two with that thing.
Me, I used to run the NSX for a good year, mate, before we got into 1.9. That was my go-to car.
I remember it. It was. I don't remember what color. Was it bright orange, or I don't remember exactly what you were running back then.
Yep, I ran a bright orange and black NSX, mate. That used to be my car.
How times have changed.
But Aaron Sparks, mate, what I've always said about Aaron, he's a lot quicker try than I think sometimes he gives himself credit for. Where he can sometimes make it hard for himself is that he, like you see here, he likes to change car regularly. Rather than some other drivers who like to bed down in one car and learn it inside and out.
Yeah, and I think it's also fair to say, I feel like Aaron Sparks is a driver who heavily underestimates himself. Because I think he's actually a lot quicker, but he always thinks he's, slow, which he's most definitely not. And he always, jokes a bit about it, but I think he's actually a driver that has been improving massively over time. And is now just a solid midfielder all around. And John Dudley saying, wow, conditions are tricky. If anyone has a spare traction control, can you lend me? Yeah. I don't think we can hand those out. Now, there's a lot possible in ACC, but giving traction control to a car wouldn't be one of those options here.
Even in the split two ranks, we've got some very good drivers who, for me, over the last few seasons, have made some massive inroads and really, really improved. Another driver I'd point out there is Aaron Holloway in the Porsche Cup car as well. I mean, he's another driver where he has grown so much over the last few seasons, and he's got a lot quicker in the process.
And one name that pops to my mind immediately is Jack Christie. Now, obviously, Jack Christie is still very young, but a very mature driver. That's, I think, safe to say, and definitely one also to watch for me if I had to pick any driver out. Now, he's obviously proven himself with multiple podiums, and I think did he win a race last season, or was he second?
Yep. I think in his split, I think he won a race.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Driver. Yeah, I mean, he was new to sim racing. He also joined. I mean, he's had races here and had things. He does. And he's brought Jack in, and you can tell Jack was new at first, but you can see also how much he's grown over the seasons. And he's really, really getting a lot quicker, a lot more consistent, and getting a lot of people within that split a run for their money now.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, for me, he would be the one to watch as I look over on my cheat sheet here to see if there's any interesting drivers on the Porsche Cup cars here. I mean, one name that I always like mentioning quite a lot is Shaman Kowalski. Now, he was really quick in the GT2s, by far the fastest driver. And yeah, well, he probably isn't one of the penguins in the Madagascar movie, but shares a name, coincidentally. And well, for me, he's the one to watch. And when it comes to Split 1, there's just so many fast drivers here that I think all deserve a spot, right? I mean, we had David Hill who won the Split last time round. I mean, you've got Elliot Watts, Gianluca Rigatti. I mean, he's in the GT2 now, but point still stands. Chico Lanefer coming back from a long hiatus as well. It's going to be one to watch, right? As soon as he's getting into that flow of practicing again, what can he deliver? Matthew Gamble is one of them as well. Now, he's taken it upon himself to try the Mustang GT3, which is very interesting as we see the Hooters cars of Hanewich go off in the background. But that's one to watch for me as well, right? The Ford is a car we have very limited information on compared to how competitive, like in terms of how competitive it actually is. So for me, it's going to be interesting to see where does it actually fare. Because I've been told it's actually quite a quick car, especially on the straights. But what can it actually do, you know, in a competitive environment like this one? We've got a handful of them on the grid. I mean, Matthew Gamble's in one. I think there were a couple in Split 2 as well. Yeah, there is Britt Batiste running one. Yeah, those are the only two? Yeah, they are actually. I thought there was one more, but I guess I'm mistaken.
My initial feedback on it is that people are struggling in it. Looking at the laps, I find that it's very quick over a single lap. But people are struggling in race trim. It is mega quick in a straight line and running on the brakes, but it's so much horsepower. Exiting corners can sometimes be a bit of a handful.
It's basically a mini cup car. That's what it is.
Basically, yeah.
That's going to be one to watch as well then, as there's only 7 minutes left of qualifying. Now, let's see here. I noticed that Elliot Watts here is on a massive improving streak so far, already cutting down 4/10 of a lap. Makes a small mistake then, and that time will be gone again. But if he keeps this up here, he will push himself to a third position, which could be massive as well. Because if you're starting at that front, there's a good chance you're avoiding all of that chaos behind you. Will be interesting as well to see how that one pans out as he makes a switch through the last couple corners. Gap is, I mean, the delta is still positive, but he has lost a little bit of pace. He should go above Nico Handke at least, and is also giving Plate a run for his money. Well, what's it gonna be? It's gonna be fast enough to beat Handke, but not Plate as it looks like, who will live to fight another day in P3 for now at least.
And am I correct that Fredrickson is a new driver this season, our current P1?
Fredrickson? Yes, he is new. First time he signed up. We know very little about him. I think it's also on the cheat sheet that you have. I've also pointed out who's a new driver. So it will show next to the name at least. Unless I've missed any, but I don't think I have.
Yeah, I see most of them there. Listed,
yeah, I've gone back through the archives. There's quite a few in the grid. Now, not everybody's showed up. Obviously, I mean, Chris Tadder's missing. I believe there is a couple others as well. But generally speaking, the turn-up has been quite massive, which we're thankful for, by the way. This is Stigi, one of the new drivers as well. Currently doing his own thing, but hasn't set in the time lap yet, as he's struggling to keep that Porsche under control. And well, to no surprise, I mean, the conditions are just so mean. We all got to thank Chris and his mates for that. They've decided that it should be torture this season. Is the next race at least dry, Chris, or do we have no information on that just yet?
If you give me a minute, I can give you a bit of an insight on the next race. I mean, one of the feedbacks for the season, people want a bit more heavier rain at times. But this is not so much that. This race is not made for that. This is going to be a tricky conditioned race, but you can see a bit more weather this season.
So we're going back to old school Amigos. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, we're making it a bit more of a challenge for people.
And I guess fairly so, right?
Next week we have variable weather. So it's going to be mixed conditions next week.
That's going to be interesting as well.
It's also worth knowing we're actually doing 2 trips to Nürburgring this season. We've got next week at the Nürburgring, and then we're back at the end of this. Oh no, a lie, not this one. We'll be back there on Thursdays as well. We're doing 2 trips on a Thursday. So we go back and do the Nordschleife as well.
That's gonna be fun. Now I'm afraid I can't do Thursdays, unfortunately, as I've got paid offers by then. But yeah, the Nordschleife obviously is a fan favorite here. I'm starting to think here. Have we raced on it yet? I don't think we have we?
No, we haven't yet.
Yeah, I think that was Formula Racing League that I was on the mic for. I did a race around there, and oh man, was it good. Now, I don't know how people do this. I mean, kudos to everybody who can remember the track at a semi-decent pace. I mean, I can either make it through safely or push way too hard and then find myself up to a wall somewhere around halfway. But yeah, I don't know how they do it. It's incredible, really. But I guess it's just a matter of doing it a lot for it to really help. But yeah, I could never. But Chris, I did assemble my rig, so who knows? Maybe I'll be back. I fixed my seat sliders. I fixed everything. Got triples going in. I'm about to order a new wheelbase as well, so maybe I can finally start training a little bit more seriously, and I will see what comes of it.
Oh, nice. What wheelbase you got turning up?
R9 Moza.
Oh, lovely. Good,
Yeah,
good
I
base.
wanted the R9 because I hate to admit it, but I play more Euro Truck than I actually play racing games. And they have a truck wheel, and that looked really cool, so I really want one. Which was one of the reasons I went for the Moza. I was considering SimiCube as well. I don't know if they were actually compatible with my rig. I don't want to like mess around with that too much, but I think it should be. I think it should be fine.
It will be. When people are making rigs, SimiCube would be one of the brands they account for.
I mean, I've got a GT1 Evo SimLab, which I think is a pretty old wheelbase. I mean, it's still one of the best, you know, sim rigs there is probably for the price, considering what I've heard from people. But
yeah, I've run a SimiCube myself, and yeah, I can't grumble with it.
oh, what rig are you on? You're on a custom one, aren't you?
Yeah.
So there was a
It's
story
all-
about this too, but I forgot.
It's all aluminium profile, mate, but it's all made up of all sorts.
It was like custom made by somebody from the UK, and then they'd like ship it to you or something, right? That was like the thing with it.
Yeah, I got that. That's where I got the sort of the base rig of mine. But then since then, I've just added and added and added.
Alright, yeah, I'm not much of a handyman myself. I mean, it took me 5 hours today to fix the wheel slider, which is longer than it should have been, but we got there in the end, I suppose.
How broken was it?
Well, it couldn't slide on one side anymore, and there's like these pins that you push up, and that will allow you to like move the things. That's what keeps them in place as well. So you have to like press down, right, to kind of make sure that it falls into place, and then you can move it, and then when you push it back up, it will like make sure it doesn't move anywhere. But it didn't move on one side at all, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. So I actually had to eventually just gave up and disassembled the entire thing, then found out what the issue was and then fixed it. But
Got there in the end, though. That's what matters.
no, exactly. Now I can finally start trading it a little bit more seriously as well. Got my triples coming in, got the wheelbase coming in. My bank account's crying, but other than that,
Yeah.
you know, it's going to be
Yeah.
enjoyable. But you've been there, I suppose.
Well, price of the hobby, I suppose. Price of any esports related thing these days, I'm afraid.
I mean, I've got a friend who's got like over 15 mice by now, just because he's like a mice nerd, and he spent so much money on like mice, and then he like uses it for like half a season of a league, and it's like, you know, I'll try something else, and then yeah.
It's a collection, or an obsession, really, more than anything.
Yeah, but that's also what I'm scared of. Like, what if I want to be upgrading, but what if I like, you know, end up like upgrading just to upgrade rather than actually enjoying it? That's like what I'm super afraid of.
For the thrill of upgrading and
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
maybe
This
become a handyman.
just
You
just
never
the
know.
dopamine of buying new stuff, right? Rather
Yeah.
than actually enjoying the stuff that I've actually got. So that's a little bit worrisome.
It's well, I mean, as long as you can afford it, it's not the worst hole to fall into. If you're running, you know, 8
Yeah.
monitors and 2 racing wheels for some reason by the end of things here.
I mean, have you ever like looked at how expensive flying simulator stuff is?
Ooh,
That's like
an excellent point.
we complain about sim racing stuff, but look up what a like proper wheel for that stuff costs, man. Like it doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I've seen those. I think I've never seen the high end ones, but even the consumer grade entry level guys are their own little demon. And you get the Star Citizen people too. I don't know if you've ever seen those ones.
No.
Buying the virtual spaceships as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, why would you, at some point you might as well buy a real spaceship for the same
Yeah.
amount of money. Here we go.
That's our qualifying done.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of things apart from qualifying, but so be it. That's what we're used to. I mean, that's what I'm allowed to do. So, anyways, Chris is soon going to be doing a bit of stewarding work in the background. He's not going to be applying live penalties, I think, right?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm not going to apply live penalties, but I'm going to shoot off, and yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to get on with for the race. So, have a good broadcast, everyone, and yeah, I shall catch you soon.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you
Chris.
for tuning in, Chris. And that was Chris Tether, ladies and gentlemen, as we are going to get ready for the race in just a moment here. Now, do you want to do a bold prediction here? Do you want to say a name? Who do you think is going to do well? Because I've got a few. I've got one in every split that I've kind of gotten out here. So for me, one to watch here is going to be Nico Handke. I think he's going to do great. He has taken it upon himself to drive in the Mercedes, the only Mercedes we've got in the split one, if I'm not mistaken. But I think he's going to do really well based on what I know from previous seasons. He's always been super consistent. I think this season is just going to have what he's got. And then if we look at the second split for me, Samuel Mbugua, he's the one to make massive improvements. He's on a controller, which is impressive in itself. We've pointed this out during the Bathurst stream, and considering that he survived a lap around Bathurst in that thing and beating a couple wheel players, I mean, it can only get up from here. And then in the Cup cars, now this is difficult for me, because obviously I know very little about how they behave in the Cup cars, but Chris Tedder's told me that Gianluca Rigatti has done a season in this, so if I were to point out anybody for that, it should be him, at least.
Okay.
I've just noticed as well, in the call sheet it says he's German, he's Italian. I don't know why I messed that up, but he's actually Italian.
Is Italian. That makes a bit more sense with them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a mistake on the call sheet. I think they're I didn't change the nationalities on the call sheet on the last one. Well, Chris Tedder's correct.
Oh, okay.
Geese is correct. Merrifield's correct. Christie's correct. Holloway's correct. Dudley's correct. Michael Syme is also British, and then Matthias is I believe Swiss, so that's GH. So they're all one down, basically. Swap two around, and then for some reason I said Kuo Matthias is Kenyan, but he's not. But no, it's actually Swiss. Yeah, I was wondering actually, do you even know the two letter country codes here? Because I wasn't sure if not like is a known thing or not.
I think so. Yeah, there's none that is sticking out.
We've got LK and FO, which you probably don't know.
LK. Hold on.
Don't Google it.
No. Let's see. LK.
Yeah, no, that was what I was like too. I had to Google the code. I had no clue.
I'm assuming it's in their language. So let's go. Liechtenstein?
No, it's not. But that's a good guess, though. I like the idea you had there, but no, it's not. It's Sri Lanka.
Oh, okay. Honestly never would have gotten there.
Yeah,
okay.
And then we've also got FO on the grid. Bradley Nielsen Vestergaard, FO.
Oh, Bradley Nielsen Vestergaard. Ooh, I think I recall his flag from a couple of weeks ago. Let me see how well I'm doing here. FO.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's
yes.
It's an island.
Give me the continent.
It's an island in Europe.
An island in Europe.
Technically, it's multiple islands, but
is it its own country? Yeah.
Yes and no. It's I think officially, very officially, like it's got its own status, I think, but it's also like officially, I believe it's like another autonomous region of another country.
Okay.
But
so
they use like
Islands or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
Okay.
I think they still use Danish crowns, and they will still like learn Danish there as like a second language. But I'm not sure what the status is. Now, I haven't got any interesting ones. I mean, CH is Switzerland, which is just, I don't know why, but it is like that.
Something to do with the French thing, or French influence, I think. It's
like, not the French. Please, not the French.
Well, I shouldn't speak so hastily.
It's a learning curve for all of us.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to, accuse anyone of anything too culturally incorrect.
That's probably.
You never do know.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken
Touchy
it upon
subject,
myself to offend everybody at least once this season. Like, that's my new challenge here.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then it shouldn't be that hard.
I don't get paid to do this cast, mate. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do? Fire me so I have
Fire
more free
you,
time? Yeah. Nah, but it's all jokes, of course. But yeah. Now, I had a couple quite question marks here. For example, Tiger Yusupov. I'm not entirely sure where he's from. He's got no flag on the sim grid, and now I know it's possible to set it as well, but it's also a possibility that he's from Russia, as I believe all Russian flags have been taken down from the website.
Right.
So I don't know, honestly, and I've got no way of figuring it out as well. I haven't actually talked to him yet. So that's the biggest question mark here in terms of nationality and other fun details here. Have I got anything else to point out? I don't think so, actually.
It's like waiting on the rest to begin here. 2-minute countdown.
Yeah, and then we get our warm-up lap, and as always, we are starting with a full warm-up lap here, or well, a rolling start, as we usually do here in Amigos Racing League. I don't think it's actually possible to do a standing start at all in this game, now that I think of it.
Oh, okay, not even a setting.
No, I don't think so, because all GT3 leagues, so that being, Fanatic GT World Challenge, IMSA, WEC, anything that's GT3 related always has rolling starts, and I think it's always been like that. Now, I could be mistaken, but I think GT4 does do standing starts. And those are a part of the game. Now I'm trying to think as well, at Dunnington, when I was there, did the Cup cars do standing and rolling starts? I honestly don't remember. There's probably some nerd watching this right now that can tell me.
They should know, yeah.
I mean, they're racing experts. I commentate Counter-Strike most of the time. What am I supposed to know?
It's sort of a strange marriage, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I kind of miss competing in Counter-Strike, but I must do something that I enjoy. Picked up racing again, and well, from one thing came another. It's actually true an old Counter-Strike teammate that I got into sim racing commentating, funnily enough. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think you told me that story last week, I believe.
Yeah, it's quite funny how that went, right? But I feel like those are also two similar things in a way that they're, I mean, sure, they've got different environments and stuff, but I think they're both kind of really competitive things, right? Counter-Strike obviously is a big esports scene.
Yeah.
And sim racing and racing in a whole is about competition and beating each other, right? So in that sense, I feel like that's just a certain person that's get attracted by it, right? You've got in racing, you've got the car fans, and you've got the racing and competition fans, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people that are into esports also like some form of sports, and for me that happens to be motorsports. But I think that's also just like the interesting thing here. Now we are on the way, starting off with our lap here, so we're going to go into a single file as well, as we're expecting Terje Fredriksson, who will have the honor of starting in P1 in his first ever race with Amigos. And another Raccoon in chat right now. I do believe 992 could do standing start, or GT4 do rolling, from what I know. Do they? I mean, I've only seen GT4s once in my life, and I was at Hockenheim Live, and I don't even remember much of it, to be honest.
Not the most glowing recommendation, then, perhaps?
No, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. But the thing with GT3 cars is that I've only been to two proper GT3 races.
Right.
One at Hockenheim, which is the Fanatec GT World Challenge, which has GT4 as a supporting series. But I was sitting in one of the last corners where you couldn't see them start. And there's no like cameras around the screen, around the circuit that you can like have big screens on. So I honestly don't really know. I just heard like noise and then I heard him go away and that was it. Plus it's like half a year ago by now. Actually even more. And then the other one was the Supercar Challenge, which is like... So the Dutch motorsports actually isn't that big, even though we've got, some big talents. But in the Netherlands, we have like one kind of cup that's basically for all the proper cars. So you've got GT cars, TCR cars, Porsche cups, GT4s, M2 cups, you name it. Clio cups even. They're just all driving in one like thing. One like league, just with different classes, and they all race at the same time. to fill up the grid a little bit more. And for them, I believe they use the standing start, but like, obviously that's not very normal. It's just that we don't have a choice because there's not a lot of people coming to those.
Okay. So it's kind of a necessity sort of deal.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, if you've got like 25 GT3s on the grid, you could do a whole GT3 race, but we had like 5 on the grid, which alone don't make for very good racing now, do they?
Yeah. Depends how close the race is, I suppose.
That's also true. Hello, everyone. I'm new, says Gatlin Nichols. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to our beautiful Monday night racing league. Where we have, well, what do we have? Boss drivers crashing into walls, to amateuristic commentators, lagging servers, but we do have cool liveries as well, so there's also a plus to this.
Yeah, there's a couple good ones in there.
Have you spotted anything? You wanna?
Well, I know you're a fan of P2. I'm just sort of looking through here. Let's see.
Is Hooters a thing in Canada? Because it obviously isn't in Europe.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we got a couple of them here.
Oh.
Did you say it's not a thing there?
No, I don't think they're in Europe at all.
Oh.
But we get things like a lot later when we do. A fun fact: there's one Dutch snack bar called Wendy's in the south of the Netherlands, and that's the sole reason Wendy's can't come to Europe as a chain. Because there's this one snack bar that owns like all the European rights to it, even though they're like a small town snack bar, which is hilarious.
That's quite that could be quite fruitful for them actually if they sold that. I feel like make a lot of money on the naming rights. It's too bad though too. Wendy's is pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean,
solid chain.
In terms of big chains, we've got McDonald's, Burger King, KFC. I think there's a couple of Taco Bells like near the bigger cities, but I'm not from a big city, so I wouldn't know because I have no reason being there. I'm trying to think what else we have.
You're not missing out on the Taco Bell, I'll tell you that much.
I think I've had Taco Bell once in my life, and it was like way too much cheese for my liking.
Yeah, it's I find it disgusting personally. Aaron Holloway's got an interesting library there.
And here we start. Race is underway here. Plenty of drivers make it through the first corner. Let's hope everybody will be all right. For now, it appears we are quite well. There's a couple of touches left, right, and center. Darkward Jr. was too quick off, and therefore, unfortunately, does find himself getting a drive-through penalty here. Gianluca Rigatti starting from the pit lane as well. But it appears everybody's made it through. Now through Maggots and Backets. This is where it's a lot of pushing and pulling. Who makes it through? Now you can also see the Cup cars getting in the way as well of the GT3s. But I think, and I don't know if you spotted anything else, but I think everybody's made it through safely.
I believe so. I'm looking through the entire lineup here and I don't see anything of note. Everybody appears to be doing just fine. Not the expected start actually for me personally. I might have thought there would have been just a little bit of chaos with this full grid, especially after we saw.
Especially with the conditions, right? Yeah.
And the conditions, not to mention, yeah.
Now, the interesting part for me here is that the races that we do have often have a chaotic, not necessarily like the first couple turns, but it's always like later in lap 1 where things go wrong, funnily enough. And I don't know why that is. I've never understood why. But people have kind of learned that they shouldn't like, you know, be the hero into turn 1, because like 90% of the time it will go wrong. And massively wrong for not only yourself, but also the people you're driving with and against. So I think it's also a little bit of respect, right, that comes into it.
Yeah.
And not to mention, well, 60 minutes. You're going to be racing 60 minutes with damage as well. Well.
Right, got turned around on the track, so I noticed.
Who did? Was it Yusupov? Oh, yeah, Yusupov's gone off.
Is off as well. He's back on now, though.
Yeah, there's been a couple then.
He did fall all the way to last, so...
I don't know, Porsche Cup's going very wide as well. I believe there was Aaron Holloway in the background that we saw. So, yeah, using the maximum of the track and a little bit more, it appears. Safe to say there has been some incidents here. Number 101 has come stalling. Who's that then? I can't even swap to him as the drivers are...
101.
Yeah, it's Jason Pooley. Yeah, that is Jason Pooley, who has gone off, but he has recovered nicely. It was hard to switch to him as it was actually turning around, as everybody's going to be passing him. Yeah. And obviously that pushes him down in the order.
Falling down the list.
Yeah, I was clicking like him like multiple times, and then as soon as I click, somebody else is like, you know, taking over his spot there. But yeah, So first of all, we've got Darkwa serving this drive-through already. Yeah. Now that's a wise decision to me. Now is a clean air for the rest of it. Sure. I think you're making the best out of a bad scenario right now. You can just focus on your lap, and there's nothing really that you have to worry about.
Yeah, well, take it early if you're gonna have to take it at all, right?
There he goes again, Pooley.
Pooley, just watch him fall. Yep, he's way off. Not moving. There he goes. Yeah, these track conditions I would have to expect are getting to people early, but Darko managing to at least bump himself up one position with the Pooley falling off the track, but...
Yeah, but look to the next of his name, though. Once again, he's got a penalty, and it's a stop-and-go 30, so that's a tough penalty to hand out. Now, I believe for speeding in the pit lane, you just get another drive-through, so Lord knows what he's actually done to get this penalty in. I am actually unsure as to how that could have actually happened. But yeah, anyways, the harsh reality is that he's got a 30-second stop-and-go. And, well, the pessimist in me says race over before it even started, but we've still got very long to go here. There's roughly an hour left here around Silverstone. And I believe, other than those few incidents, I think everybody else has made it through kind of alright.
Yeah, looking at the field here, I think most people are in the position halfway around where they qualified. A couple of close battles here early on, but Masbachi trying his best to make his way up the field here, working with Britt Baptiste.
The mic is like getting low volume, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, now it's better.
Bochi and Baptiste. I was saying Britt Baptiste, not British, from my understanding, based on your spotter's guide. A misnomer, as it were.
Yeah, no, he's actually American, but it's just funny that his first name is Brit in a league filled with British people as well. So and he's actually, if you click on him, I believe his livery used to be, I don't know if it still is, but his livery always used to be called Brits Not British as well. So he just let everybody know in advance. Now, I've just swapped over to Craig Starkus. This is an interesting battle to me. Britt Baptiste is in the Ford GT3, a car we don't know a lot about. Craig Starkus is one of the newer guys, so we don't know what he's capable of doing yet. And he's being chased by a free CD driver, that being Dan Pickles. Now, Dan Pickles, he is quick. And we know this. His track record is basically already proven. So, curious to see how well he's keeping up that space. As Baptiste makes a small mistake, and we'll have to let the Bentley go, I'm afraid. And it feels weird to say, but I think the Bentley might just be even bigger than the Ford, now that I look at it, which is an achievement on its own.
So we're still seeing the early battles here. Dan Pickles, I'm a little familiar with from our previous broadcast, so fun to see these names back again as the field is fairly wide now. A lot of new entrants, as we've been discussing.
Yeah, this is one of them. Ben Gilroy, we're watching. Fighting another newcomer here. The driver is fighting right now is Emil Plate, or Emil Plate, I guess that's how it's pronounced. It's a little bit tough because it's a Dutch name, but it's an English word, so I'm actually not sure how to pronounce it this time around here. As the McLaren has a look, and well, Dutchman was looking to defend here, but wasn't expecting him to actually stick for that. So he's left him more than enough space. The McLaren makes his way around nicely. Gilroy moves up one. And, well, to make it even worse here, he's also now got to worry about Nico Handke was coming right behind him in his Mercedes. So the Ferrari here might be in trouble, as the German's already looking to go side by side here. There's no space just yet, but he wants to stick around. Now, this does go right, but obviously now coming into Maggots and Beckett's again, he could try and go for a move. Does he want to go side by side? It would be risky. Yes, he's done it. What a beautiful move by Nico Handke.
Very exciting maneuver. I had a feeling Hunt could be good to watch this time around. He's not disappointing. Good maneuver there to keep himself right in the thick of things here. Early on, I think, at least in previous races, we've seen that letting yourself go down too far too early can be devastating. So
yeah, but he's willing to fight, and that's what you always notice. Like, the longer the races are, generally, the less risky overtakes people are going for. Because you know that if you've got like a 8-hour race and you throw it away because you crash in the last lap, right? Everybody will be frustrated. So if you've got less time to make up for it, you might as well risk it a little bit more, right? Because in the end of the day, well, you're not wasting 8 hours of your day by crashing in the last lap. So I feel like people are willing to take more risks into these kind of races here. As I'm watching Joseph Attenborough, also known as Joey, of course, come around. He's a good friend of Aaron Sparks, and I believe they go to racing quite often. No, I've actually had the honor to, well, get carried around in a car by Aaron Sparks myself in his Honda Civic in the second gear on the highway. It was an interesting experience, to say the least, but yeah.
Did he drive like he did on the track?
Well, the thing is, no matter how I answer this, it's always going to sound rude. Because I can say, no, he doesn't. He was way slower, and that's an insult because then I call him slow. But if I say, yeah, he was, you know, he was like risking everything, then it's like he's an unsafe driver, so you can't win in this scenario, can you?
A bit of a setup there, wasn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. So it's been, wait, this is like a third or fourth broadcast together, and I'm already like getting framed and stuff. So
yeah, that's right.
Ah, beautiful.
I'm starting to see how things work in the Amigos Racing League.
We're teaching you well, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, it's been good. Got to hear you give it to Chris a little bit earlier, so things are, you know, they're coming into light, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, Chris is a lovely lad, but obviously we will never accept him going to iRacing. You just, that's not okay, no matter what you, like, do. Now, we've seen a couple drivers leave before. You know, to iRacing, we've lost a couple. Adam Locke comes to mind. I met him at Donington as well, and I know his girlfriend still watches the stream, by the way, so big shout out to, you know, his missus. But yeah, I noticed as well, they just get into iRacing because, well, they've got the funds, and in his case it actually worked out great, because while I was flying Ryanair to get there, he was the one getting, you know, free lunches and hospitality packages from Radical, because he did pretty well in a British Radical Racing League, and therefore he got hospitality tickets and gift bags and you name it.
Oh, okay.
So that's quite cool. I mean, if you win Amigos, you get a mug with your name on it and the logo, which is still cool.
That's also pretty cool.
True. Now, the thing is, I've been commentating with them for more than a year, and I still haven't received anything, so...
Yeah, not even a mug with your name
No,
on it.
I didn't even get a mug with my name on it.
Wow.
It's a shame, isn't it? But nah, it's all good, of course.
A thankless job.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
A mugless job.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is. You know?
Well,
I work my ass off being here every single Monday. I sometimes will even call off paid offers to do this, and this is how they treat me. It's unacceptable, really. Nah, but obviously this is also the league they got me. I mean, this is where I started when it comes to commentating. So for me to, you know, kind of give something back to the community, and now also teaching other people to get into it. It's kind of like a circle, right? Before you know it, you'll be the one teaching others how a set of course a competition and commentating works. And, you know, who knows, will one day come full circle.
That's right. You know, generational, as it were. How it's gotta be. We do have, of course, generations in the racing side of things, so it's only natural that we keep the generations going on the commentating side of things.
Yeah, do you know how hard that was, keeping track of the Christie family?
I still don't fully get it, I don't think. So
okay, so you've got Darren, Richard, or Richie, people call him, and Jack Christie. Jack Christie's the youngest. Darren Christie's his dad. And then Richard Christie is Darren Christie's brother, so he's the uncle of Jack.
Ah, okay.
But to me, I always got them mixed up, so their family tree to me ended up becoming a circle.
Oh.
And yeah, I always struggle with it a lot, and they kept making fun of me as well, but it's hard, you know. So I even suggested, why don't we do like a maximum of two Christies per race, just to keep it like manageable for me.
Or maybe they should just be able to, they should always be able to tag team. You know, whichever race it is.
Oh yeah,
just
they could do
swap
IRL
them
driver
out, right?
swaps.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Assuming they all live together, right? Yeah, they could just
I mean, I don't know.
maybe not Darren and Richie. That'd be a little strange. I mean,
I think Jack still lives with his parents. I believe he's younger than me at least. I think he's like 18 or something. Now, I don't know how it is in the UK, but I don't think you move out usually at that kind of age. At least in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, you don't, because you've got no money for it. But I don't know how it works in the UK. I mean, in Canada, everybody moves out similarly, I think, pretty early, right? 'Cause people live on campus.
Yeah, well, the new trend is you move out when you're 18 and you move back when you're 22. So.
Oh, after college, after your fun
Yeah.
part of life is open, you start being responsible
Really?
again.
Oh my god, I have no money, and I've been hungover for 4 years and haven't gone anywhere, and you gotta go for support. He didn't make any money.
Now that makes
Just a
sense.
brief note here. You were mentioning that Darkwood's race day might be over before it even began, and I believe you are correct. 'Cause it looks like he has, in fact, disconnected.
Oh, wait, has he?
I'm not seeing him on my race controls. So
Yeah, there's
I
one driver
will-
left, so I think you might be right, actually. Yeah, that's just how it is sometimes, right? The harsh reality of sim racing, but at least he can now do something else in this evening.
That's true enough. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's probably a fair decision to make.
I mean, for me, it's also a bit of a sportsmanship thing, right? Oh, no, that almost went very wrong here. Ben Gilroy is so aggressive into it. Elbows are out versus David Hill, and well, that could have been a massive incident, but he lets him go as David Hill goes really, really wide, rejoins the track right in front of him. Now coming into that left hander and then the right hander immediately after. So can he stick along? It looks like he can. Ben Gilroy is now going to have the inside line, and he's just pushing David Hill out of the way, and therefore he's completed the move. But man, that was not easy.
Quite the sequence there from this middle pack that we've been sort of keeping an eye on thus far in the race. Huntkiss managed to move himself out to the front of the pack, so the rest of them were left to sort of fend for next position. And these corners are giving them lots of room to work here.
Yes.
Definitely some dangerous maneuvers as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, the interesting part for me here is like, are they going to treat David Hill any differently than they normally would? Because obviously he was the, I mean, I say obviously, but you weren't there, but I was there. He was the champion last season. So people know he's rapid. So I wonder if they're a little bit more keen on getting their elbows out to, you know, ensure something like that doesn't happen again. I mean, he deserved it well, but obviously everybody wants a piece of that pie, don't they? So...
Yeah.
I wonder what's going to be that this season. Now, we've got a very competitive looking grid here. Like, ever since season 13 or 14, I think, when I was like 2 seasons in, the field just became like more and more high rated. If you go on the sim grid, you can see rating like an ELO system. That's like based off the leagues they race in and how well they do in those, right? So this is a relatively high ranked league where there's not a lot of rookies. A lot of people are semi-pro or higher. Which then also means that, you know, that indicates a quick DR. Because it means that against other people of that rank, they're doing really well to stay there. Because it's not easy to get those ranks. But yeah. Everybody here is really quick. And I don't know how they're doing it at all. Like, I'm 10 seconds off the pace at Silverstone. And I just can't wrap my head around how they're doing it.
Yeah, well, that was something I was... going to bring up earlier was when we had Fredrickson in the lead as a new driver, and all of these, all you're saying as these, I don't know what to call them. Rookies doesn't feel like the right word, but I guess technically it is.
I mean, that's just how SimGrade calls them. I mean, even then, like rookie, even though you might do your first season with Amigos, that doesn't necessarily say anything about how seasoned of a sim racer you are, right?
Yeah.
But that's just how we name them, because obviously they're new to this league. I mean, you could be like for example, you could be a Formula 1 world champion and move over to IndyCar or something. You would be a rookie in IndyCar, even though, you know, you've probably got more experience than anybody else on that grid. But that's just how we name them. It's nothing, it's not like a way of like saying how skilled people are. Now, this is kind of interesting here, because Emma Plater's got quite a bit of extra speed coming down the straight, but the extra horsepower of that Ford's coming in nicely. Now the backmarker's in the way, so they go around in both ways. That's a little bit scary, of course, as well, right? I don't know how that's just happened, but yeah, Yusupov probably having a Code Brown moment there, if anything. And, well, it looks like David Hill is the one staying ahead here, but it also means that Matthew Gamble's got him himself a little bit more space to work with now, as he was the one able to avoid the carnage, well, almost carnage. Everybody ended up avoiding him in the end, but he was the one kind of managed to get ahead before anything got dicey. So, well, he's now a little bit more ahead here, but this group is still far from done with each other just yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that was It was almost it looked like a coordinated move that would the way they moved around him there. Very impressive stuff, but scary indeed. You just got to you got to think this group is going to be the one to watch going forward. Seems like every lap they have something new going on. Very aggressive.
Yeah, but you got to admit it as well, right? This goes for both David Hill and Emma from what I've seen as well. They are very aggressive drivers. And they are not just like ever okay with giving up the positions here. And David Hill is obviously a very seasoned driver, a veteran of the league, I can call him as well at this point. And he knows how to race and he knows how to defend actively. But Emo keeps trying and has had a couple opportunities to get by. Just these small fine-tuning is needed to find his way around, right? Because there was one time where he got past, but then he was slightly too fast into the next corner and had to go wide. He had another time where he had to kind of get out before bumping into him and that kind of stuff. But he's trying so hard, and I think that's awesome to see as well. It's just a matter of time, I think, before he can line up and attack again. Because looking at the lap times right now, he's definitely got the pace.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is the small things. Just a few moments before you were talking there, I think he lost the handle for half a second, and that allowed Nikon just to pass him just briefly. So
yeah,
I have no doubt that he'll be very close here for the rest of this race.
Now, Nikanen is also an interesting one for me, because I know Kari-Matti Nikanen from another league, actually. He was racing a Formula Racing League, which is a other league that I do commentating on sometimes. And I remember him in a Laguna Seca race, and I think I've done like 3 or 4 races he was in, and he's always been in the Porsche, but now he's made a change over to the 296, which in itself is interesting as well, because those cars behave very differently. You're right, if you look at how engine placement is and all that kind of stuff you have to take into account. So I don't know if he is like fully adapted to, because I can't tell how long he's been in that car. If he's been in that car for a long time and this is his peak, well, then he's going to be very competitive. But if he's just getting used to it now, then the people driving at the front should be very scared.
Yeah, as going to go ahead and pass Davey Hill there. And you might just be right. He's finding the handle here as Hill going to lock himself into a battle here. These two very close, and as you're saying, even a seasoned driver like Hill, whoa, I think that might have been a touch there. That's something to worry about.
I think they were just about alright here, but the thing is that made the difference there is that Kari-Matti Nikanen obviously had the inside line that he had to defend, right? He had to ensure that he stayed on that inside line to ensure that he can't get around. But the problem here was that Kari-Matti Nikanen kind of braked too late, which means that he had to go wide on the exit on the other one, and you could just see how David Hill lined it up into the corner, and that allowed him to go side by side way quicker than Kari-Matti Nikanen was expecting. And then as soon as the following corner came, he had no choice but to go wide, and when you go wide, it's basically an automatic call of saying like, hey, I should probably stop in behind you, because obviously this way of defending is not tolerated. So he's had to give up the spot again, which means that David Hill's back up to 8.
Yeah, but nonetheless, a great battle here so far. Although I suppose Nikanen would be competing in the... Is he competing in the amateurs?
Yeah, yes. Look, it's great next to his name. So yeah, he's actually a split-through driver. Now, with the season being filled out, it's not necessary that everybody that is quick enough for pro gets a slot in pro, if that makes sense, right?
Right.
So therefore, it's a good possibility that he is quick enough, but there just was no spot left, and therefore he's now, rather than a midfielder in split 1, he's now a top contender for split 2. Speaking about top contender for split 2 here, I noticed that Dario Segara wasn't signed up, which was a little bit of a shame. I know he's always done really well. There's a Marco Laurie as well, was a driver that was doing very well. They haven't signed up here, and that makes me think a couple drivers here have a good chance of performing well this season, especially, right? You've got Jack Christie, who has performed last season. Kari-Matti Nikanen is new in the split, but one thing's for sure, he's been quick here as well. But I even think that opens up opportunities for example, this man, Bradley Nielsen Vestergaard, who has been in the more experimental side of the league and now has actually decided to settle down on a more stable car, and therefore I actually wonder what he can perform now. Oof, that has gotten quite tight here. A little bit of a nudge there from David Hill onto Karimati Nikan here as the pit window is now open. Now obviously the pit window has been shortened here, and that's going to be interesting because everybody's now going to have to come in the same 20 minutes. So that means that everybody's going to come in and it's going to get real busy over in the pit lane, which obviously allows for a little bit less of a difference in tactics here. But it also means that with the conditions that could change any moment, you never know what it's going to bring, right? Now, obviously, the track is noted as damp, which means that's 1 or 2 levels above dry, which means that the dry tires are an option for the adventurous driver. But generally speaking, I think the majority of them is going to be on wet. But then the issue is, how are you going to make sure that your tires don't overheat? So no matter what you do, you're going to be in trouble here, I think. Now, I've just gone down the field here to see that Aaron Holloway and Richard Christie find themselves fighting for P33 here. Guy Cunahan's not able to get away in the slightly faster GT3 cars. So it's actually a little bit surprising to me, but the Cup cars are actually really competitive out there.
Yeah, it's an interesting field as you look down the list here as well. As, we've been focusing on our sort of 5 to 11 sort of positions, but lots going on here, and it is.
You need to speak up a little again, by the way. Once again, your mic is getting quieter.
Oh, that's my fault. I keep turning my head away to look at to read my list here. Just shift over physically.
Oopsie.
But no, we're starting to see the pits coming out here. Kind of curious whether or not you start out early or if you wait till the last moment. It's a psychological battle, as it were, as well as, of course, you know, the physical with regards to conditions and tires. As you have to wonder, is it worth pitting earlier, or do you risk pitting later and getting trapped in that traffic? So
now that's the thing. And to me, I think the logical move is, once again, if you're a driver that's kind of behind, pit early, getting clean air. If you're a driver that's at the front, pit late, get some more clean air in. Ensure that you're not getting into traffic, right? That's going to be your main goal here, avoiding the traffic, the slower cars. Although the grid is still kind of compact here. For example, lots of drivers just starting lap 12 now. But up until P39 are all in lap 11. So there's only 2 drivers that have fallen behind already when it comes to the lap times here. So many drivers go wider on the straight. We're aboard with Damian Konchik, who just about kept it within the lines. Can't say the same about Neil Archer in front of him. But Konchik has already served this pit stop here as well. So
yeah,
he's going to gain a lot of positions. And he's taking the risk of pitting early. But now you got to ensure that you get past the other drivers as soon as possible to make up that space here. But as you can see right now, he's kind of struggling to get by the, well, on paper, slower Neil Archer and John Dudley.
Yeah, well, Konchik was one of our earlier drivers that did end up taking his early pit stop, so sort of might be starting to see what you're saying here about getting caught in that traffic. Now he has to contend with these, yeah, like you say, alleged slower drivers, and meanwhile, we're seeing some of his field start to pit as well, so if they come out in a more favorable spot, they may well have an advantage over Konchik here.
Yeah, that's kind of shooting yourself in the foot, if anything. Now, obviously, it doesn't always have to be like that. It kind of also depends, you know, what battles are going on track and who's willing to actively get out of the way to pass you, and who's just saying, well, overtake me when you're quicker. But I'm not going to be... I mean, like, most people think that blue flags here work like they do in Formula 1, where you actively have to get out of the way to let people by. But in kind of sports car racing and touring car racing in general, the general rule of thumb for blue flag is don't defend actively. So you can keep racing your lines, and as soon as he's like kind of getting by you, just let him go. You don't have to get out of your way because there's a faster driver behind you. Also, something along the lines of being predictable on track, right? If I were to suddenly brake and move over, that might cause somebody to crash or somebody to not expect it and go off. So in that sense, that makes a lot of sense. And Nico Handke's come in. But the downside for him is now, he not only has to serve his pit stop here, he has also got himself a drive-through penalty that's going to have to be serving somewhere during the race.
Yeah, that's a tough one if you're Hanke. Such a good performance so far, and managed to get himself dinged on that one. I didn't see exactly what happened there, but it's gonna hurt coming from P5 all the way down to wherever he ends up, as looks like he is just gonna serve the drive-through and not take the pit stop. So he's gonna go back and stick with the lane at this point instead of just pitting.
Yeah, so the most probable cause here, considering that we don't have live stewarding for this race, is the most likely outcome is that it's just got the track too much. And therefore, if you get, you're allowed to have 2 warnings, and then on your 3rd warning, you get a drive-through penalty. As to that point, you've gained, a significant advantage by cutting corners.
Right.
And therefore, that's your kind of way to punish them. And obviously, the weight of the punishment is always going to be way heavier than how much it's actually brought you in terms of lap time. So, generally speaking, you're always going to be at a net loss when it comes to those corner cutting penalties. But that is the most likely outcome here. And I think with the conditions as well, it's not unlikely that somebody's going to make a mistake and then kind of can't make the corner and therefore cut across by accident, right?
Yeah, well, we've seen that quite a few times already, watching these battles, and sort of saw it early on as well, where probably very unintentional. So, especially as we get later into the race, we'll have to keep an eye on that one as people are sort of starting to rack them up and start to see more of these drive-through penalties get laid on the line here.
It's not Misano, luckily, here, as Sylvain Pastorius makes his way past Jack Christie, that was. So Jack Christie falling off another spot here. And, obviously, quite a few drivers coming in already. The top drivers basically all yet to come in, of course, as Gonchik is currently the highest up driver that has served this penalty here. Now, I'm watching Sander Jacobs as we're going here, and he's battling his sovereign neighbor, that being Simon van den Wijngaard, a driver that has raced with us for quite a while by now. And he's gone for a very memorable livery as well. Now, I don't know how much you've been watching F1 last weekend. Well, I mean, how much you've been watching the track get cleaned up because of the incidents. But then that livery is obviously inspired by Ayrton Senna, which is obviously one of the most legendary drivers of all time. I believe a 6-time Monaco GP champion, and McLaren was the one to come out with a livery to honor his achievements and commemorate his his past as a racing driver before he obviously passed away. I think it looks absolutely stunning. Simon van den Wijngaard, as far as I know, makes his liveries himself as well. He's gone really wide there, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of the other designs he's come up with, because I think he's really creative with them. And that's what I love to see as well. The expression is just such a big part of the Amigos identity here, right? It's something we talk about every stream, and I think rightfully so as well, because it allows the drivers to express themselves, show who they are, both in and outside the track, and usually there's quite of a big story between them as well, as Simon van den Wijngaard spins out, and unfortunately he's now facing the wrong way. He's able to get out of the way at least, but that's going to cost him quite a bit of time here as he finds his way onto the escape road now. But at what cost? This cost him 4 or 5 positions, if I'm not mistaken. And for a driver that hasn't served his pit stop yet, that is definitely a devastating blow there as well.
Yeah, that's a tough one for him there. He's a bit lucky insofar as the pack around him also has to serve their pit stops, but that's not going to protect him forever, as he's going to have to get himself reoriented and make some headway here. We'll have to see how he does, but no, to your earlier point about the deliveries, very different experience now that I have them all synced up properly. Really does bring out the personality, I think, and especially considering there are, of course, we've talked about the competitions and just all of that surrounding it. But no, it's a lot more fun this way than just sort of your stock gray cars or whatever else have you.
Yeah, it's a lot more expressive, and also it allows for a lot more talking points that we've got here. As Starkey makes his way past the cup car of John Dudley here. Now, John Dudley, actually, interesting enough, not a lot of people know it, but I actually figured it out. When I asked people to fill out the trivia, to give me some kind of background information on the drivers as well, that we could just chime in there once in a while. Turns out it's actually born in a country that no longer exists.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'll
leave
leave
you which one it was.
Yeah, it's in the sheet. I'm not gonna tell you, but you'll probably think, that makes sense when you read it. He's in the cup car, so look at the red sheet, the last driver sheet.
I want to see. Oh, I'm trying to think if I can guess it. All right, let me just.
Okay, so you're gonna think. Okay, so I'm gonna give away.
Okay. Sorry, I looked.
Okay. Yeah. West Germany.
West Germany, indeed. Yeah. No, not I guess I was gonna say it's not unsurprising entirely. I'd say of all the countries that no longer exist, that's it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously
Well, it exists in a some sort of sense, I suppose.
I mean, it's always an interesting thing, right? Like, I can go on for days about, like, disputed territories and name it, Like, I think it's quite interesting how what works that day. And I just wanted to point out real quick, look at how many drivers are coming into the pits or are in the pits. I mean, the game doesn't even have enough pit boxes to accompany anyone. We've actually had a problem before where I was commentating in a league called Supercharged Motorsport. We were doing a race at Laguna Seca, but they didn't account for the amount of drivers that had to go into the pits. So therefore, there weren't enough pit boxes because I believe there's a maximum of 3 cars that can stand at the pit box at the same time. Technically, obviously it wouldn't be like that IRL.
Okay.
But there were so many people showing up that, not everybody got a spot in the race. So they had to borrow a server from somebody else to ensure that everybody got the race.
What? So they couldn't all run on the same server? Is that what it was?
Yeah, because there were too many drivers for the pit boxes.
Wow, I didn't really think of that as an implication, but I guess it sort of makes sense. Funny.
Yeah, that's...
I guess we're not running into the same limitations here, at least it seems.
No, I mean, we have run races where we have had 2 splits that had their separate servers. So this was before we added the guest class. We had a split 1 and a split 2 server, meaning we'd have more races going on, and then I would be handling the mainstream, and Alex, who was another commentator that you sometimes see pop up in chat a little bit.
Yep.
He was doing the second split stream because he was the one that actually sometimes had paid offers on Monday, whereas I generally had paid offers on other days. So therefore, he wasn't always able to make it. So I was assigned split 1, and we were running 2 streams at the same time on our YouTube channel to ensure that both streams were being covered. But now we've gone back to 1, so that scalability has obviously helped us a lot by ensuring things are just a lot easier to run because we've got less incidents to come through. There's less things to worry about when it comes to servers and such. So therefore, I think that's been a good decision. Although it also means that there's a lot of less drivers on the grid compared to what we used to have.
Oh, okay. It's like a smaller field overall, just due to the limitations, maybe. Or?
Yeah, I mean we have 2 full servers. Now we've got 1 full server, so therefore less people fit in. But obviously we take that into consideration as well when we build our season. We always look at what the so hypothetically everyone's going to show up, right? In reality, that doesn't really happen. But let's say if everybody wants to be there, you need a spot for everybody, and therefore, when you decide how many people can join, you will look at what the least pit boxes are in like a racing league.
Okay.
Like on a certain track, I mean, and that's like the maximum amount of people that can sign up. Therefore, you're never into trouble.
Yeah, no matter who shows up. Sorry, no matter who shows up, you're in relative safety, knowing that you have the availability for everyone. Notable missing person today, Samuel Mbuku. I was just looking for him. He's not, I don't think, on the server.
Oh, is he no, or is he disconnected? There have been 2 more disconnects in the meanwhile. I actually haven't paid attention to as if he was actually there, so I'm unsure if he has been there or not. I mean, there's so many drivers that we got to pay attention to. Yeah. You can't catch them all, I suppose. But yeah, that's a shame. Sometimes that happens, I suppose. And obviously Jason Pooley's retired as well, even though he's technically still on the server. So yeah, sometimes people disconnect. I always am a big fan of just driving out the race regardless, as I think that was the... Whose Porsche Cup was that then, going wide? I wasn't sure to see it here. But we've got a fun battle here going on between two Cup cars here. We've got Dominic Geese in P27 and then Gianluca Rigatti in the place behind him as well. You can just see how much that car is sliding through.
Yeah.
As, well... They are once again making their way through here to then immediately start a big sprint race. You're going to turn here, and from there it's just full follow until you make your way all the way to Brooklands. And by then you are almost at the end of the lap again. So how much does that slipstream give you? Well, Gianluca Rigatti is looking, but he's decided it's better off just waiting a little bit for now. Realizes it's not worth the risk there. Takes it easy as the other Porsche goes quite wide. So an alternative line here taken by Gianluca Rigatti. Now he's got so much more space. The issue is that he's on the same line as Dominic Geese and therefore not able to stick around immediately here. So he's going to have to try again just a little bit later.
Yeah, there was a second there where it looked like he might have gone for it, but in the end just probably making the right decision and not taking that line. As our last of our mandatory pit stops, I believe, are now complete. Yeah, I don't see any more...
No, they're all green.
...issues here, so we are officially set to go with the rest of the field. However things shake up now, there's no more mandatory pit stops, at least. We'll have to see otherwise, but...
Just a matter of keeping the car clean, of course.
Yeah.
Now, Rigatti finally has made his way alongside Dominic Geese here. Just going to be a matter of who's going to dare to break last. And well, obviously, Patagaro Racing car has to come from far. And there's a little bump. And the leader of the race there just coming in to say hi. As he laps the drivers from behind now. But yeah, Gianluca Rigatti gave it a go. Unfortunately, couldn't do it here. But I know one thing for sure. He's not content with P26, that is. And I think he's going to try again just a little bit later.
Yeah, well, after an attempt like that, you know he's not going to give up easily.
There he goes.
He's close line there. Looking like go side to side here.
He's so close yet so far.
Yeah, such a tough one here.
But how do you get by cleanly, right? Like the thing is, in terms of pace, I wouldn't surprise if he's got this. He's almost losing that car there. Yeah, that's what having no traction control does to you. But then he decides to stick his nose in there on the straight. And, well, Dominic Geese gets scared a little bit there. Taps the brakes to ensure he actually makes the corner. I see left space for him there. I'm not sure if he left space intentionally or not. But obviously, when you see that car there just sending it in, you're kind of worried that, you know, he sends it into you. So he's gone a little bit wide and therefore has had to also go a little bit slower on the straight. So now Gianluca Rigatti has made his way through. And now it's a question of driving away as fast as possible to ensure that you don't get into trouble with him ever again.
Yeah, you want to leave him in the dirt as fast as you possibly can, because after the intense battle that just was, no doubt if you leave him anywhere near you, he will be on your tail. Not going to give you any more space. At least if I was Geese, I wouldn't, so it's pressure to Rigatti to try and drive away. But a good battle there from our Cup cars. Nice to see them working things out. Add a little bit of a little bit more tension too, just with the style of car.
Yeah, most definitely. Now the thing always to me is like I enjoy both, you know, single car races, but I also enjoy these multi-class or just multiple cars in the same class, right? Because obviously with the GT3 you've got more variety on track, which is fun. But then in the Porsche Cup, every single car is equal. Nobody said a, you know, advantage or disadvantage here. It all comes down to how you set up your car and how you drive, which I think also is a beautiful thing to have, isn't it? Just to make sure that everybody has equal chance of winning the race, and it's actually the driver making the difference. So I think you could make an argument for both, that they're incredibly fun to see. I think in a multi-class environment like we have, it definitely adds a little bit more spice as well. So the GT3s have to make their way past the, well, a little bit more risky Cup cars that are a little bit more prone to making mistakes as well. But yeah, we're aboard with Adrian Hanowich for the time being. With Elliot Watts right up his tail here. Unfortunately, though, he is kind of getting stuck behind that Porsche Cup car now. Which means that Adrian's slowly but surely driving away.
just adds to the fun of things too, when you have all these different classes. Almost sometimes feel like they're driving their own race, but I suppose that would be true. As it's looking quite confident in that livery there as he speeds down the straight. Pit window closes.
Yeah, it means everybody has to have served their mandatory pit stop by now, but they have.
Yeah,
As that might be Kari Martinica on there going a little bit more slowly. Indeed it is. He is struggling, and therefore Oliver Jewick will take that position. He'll say thank you very much, and he'll see you at the finish line. Oliver Jewick moves up to P10.
Yeah, also Jacobs, I suppose, on his tail there got a little bit of run off of that one.
Sometimes happens.
Nikkanen, if we recall, taking that earliest pit stop and hasn't quite recovered from it, still down there in P12. I think he was a bit lower right after the pit, but still seeming to be reeling a little bit from losing that early advantage he had.
I mean, it's not too bad if you consider that he also started in a similar position. You know, he started P11, so therefore it's not generally a bad thing what has happened to him. I just do think there was more potential in it, but I don't think it's as bad as it sounds now, considering that he is still in roughly the same position that he started the race in.
He was up in 8th or 9th though, no?
Yeah, for a little bit, yeah, but that was also because some incidents happened in front of him. But if you look at pure starting position, it's actually not that bad. But I guess if you look at it that way, he could have done better as well. But for now, you know, I think you'll take it. Now, one thing that I'm particularly excited about now as well is the fact that Oliver Jewick now has a new contestant to be worried about. That is Sander Jacobs. And Sander has so far done a great job sticking with the German here. Now, obviously, Oliver Jewick is one of the oldest drivers that we've got on the grid here. I don't know if you've seen that yet on the sheet, but
yeah,
he's over 60 years old. Yeah.
Very impressive.
He's older than my dad, which feels unreal. You know?
Yeah, same actually, yeah.
I sometimes feel old when I'm like, you know, in touch with Counter-Strike teams. They're all like 16. Can you imagine how these people feel? When there's like people on the grid. I mean, we've had Ty Cuthbert race 2 seasons ago, and back then he was 14, I believe. And can you imagine being 4 plus times as old as some of the drivers you were driving with, right? It's just such a big contrast.
Or beating down, as it were, too. You gotta think about that.
Yeah. Welcome to the new generation.
Yeah. You gotta keep up if you wanna, you know. He's got years and years of experience, no doubt.
Yeah. Now, actually, I don't know if you know this yet, but next month is going to be a great one for racing IRL. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but got 3 legendary races coming up, all in June, so can't wait for this. You could probably guess one.
IRL racing?
Yeah.
What's next? It would be Le Mans.
Yeah, Le Mans is there. Yep, that's one of them. Now we've got 2 more. They're all 24-hour races, by the way, so...
Yeah, I'm just... Oh, man. 24 hours in Le Mans, 24 hours in... My goodness. Showing my...
Don't Google it. I can hear the keyboard rattling. No, but we've got... first weekend of June, we've got the 24-hour of the Nürburgring Nordschleife.
Right.
Which is absolutely awesome. Then we've got 24 hours of Le Mans at 15 and 16 June, and we are ending the month with a 24-hour race at Spa as well. So we've got plenty of racing action coming up here for the endurance enjoyers. At least I am definitely one of them. And well, Darren Christie here. What has happened there? Well, I do know one thing. He's got himself a drive-through, and that's never a good sign.
And just looking, it looks like some big movement around Dominic East there as well, so I'm thinking something might have happened around there. Not exactly sure, actually. I'm trying to pin it down, but...
Wait, sorry, what are you looking for exactly?
I saw a lot of green chevrons around Dominic East, so...
Yeah, but those are just the cup cars, aren't they? On the minimap, you mean? Or what are you looking for exactly?
Oh, on race control.
Where do you see green?
They're gone now, but a minute ago there was... some movement. I just couldn't pin down exactly what happened. So we'll have to move. I think we dropped too many positions, so I'm sure it was nothing major.
No, not yet at least, but it's always tight. It's always tough,
Yeah.
right? These races. I don't know exactly what it is, but like it's just come to the part of the race where I feel like some of the drivers aren't taking as much risks anymore, knowing they're all the way to the end here.
Yeah.
But you've still got some drivers that are pushing hard here. I mean, you've got Jacobs, who is still chasing down Oliver Dewey and has done that for quite a while. You've got Alan Norrie as well, who's pushing up to find Jack Christie. It's not there quite yet here, but he is going to be trying again there. And Oliver Dewey now, he's lost a lot of time here, as it appears that the Ferrari 296 is now getting into the mix as well. That is a back marker getting out of the way. And I'm afraid he's just slightly too far off here. Got to be careful on the exit, but they have managed. And well, for Oliver Dewey, this is definitely not a fun racing experience. I mean, maybe it is in terms of enjoyment, but just having that car behind you is going to start you worried a little bit here. This we are getting closer to the finish of the race here already, as there's only 16 minutes remaining as we speak, which means that time is once again flying by.
Yeah. Well, some getting more conservative, but I think certainly some will start to see that finish line, and we'll have to wait and see if that makes them a little bit more antsy. I know I would. I'm not in the position I'd like to be. I think I'm the type that takes a bit more of a risk personally. Try to get where I want to be before I run out of time.
I think it kind of depends on the environment as well. Because you got to keep in mind, some drivers here that we speak, for example, Chris Tedder, John Dudley, David Hill, Chico Lanefair, you name it. They've been racing together for, 3 to 4 years. They know what the tendencies of other drivers are. They know exactly what they're capable of and what they're not capable of. The big question marks for now are the drivers that are new completely. Jack Christie kind of gets bumped here by Harry Howard. Moves up one position at least here and makes his way up to P23. But as I was saying, it's just very different racing with a set group of people compared to, a group of drivers that you don't know. Because for me, at least, when I queue up Low Fuel Motorsport, I go into a race with the feeling that I cannot trust some of the drivers that I'm racing with or against.
Yep.
So I like to start at the back, ensure that I am alright, and then when people crash out, I'll happily overtake them and just do my thing. But I'm always unsure. I don't even qualify when I'm playing Low Fuel Motorsports. I'll just stay in, knowing that by lap 2, I'll probably have overtaken 5 or 6 already, if not more. And from there on, I'm just going to be focusing on working a lot of safety rating. Now here, safety rating is a thing. It's a new thing that we have here, and it's one of the factors that decides which drivers is supposed to go in which split here. With a couple drivers getting an A+ mark here as well, which basically means they have got 0 contacts throughout the entire season. And I think there were 2 or 3 drivers who actually managed that, so really impressive.
Yeah. No, that's big over a series of different races and time controls and conditions. You have to just... You gotta respect that. Good safe driving all around.
I'm looking for the document as we speak, so I actually don't know where it was. I do know that it was John Dudley, I believe, who published it. Okay, so here we go. A+ rating, no contacts in the season. Those were last season. Chris Tedder, Elliot Watts, Alistair Wright, Dan Poole, Jason Pooley, and Dion Di Rosso. Now, Dion Di Rosso's not racing with us anymore. Jason Pooley has probably been touched already. And Elliot Watts, I think, has been as well. So Alistair Wright's still up there. Dan Poole isn't racing, and Chris Tedder isn't either. So, well, the BWP Angels here aren't on the side of the drivers this time tonight. Although I guess that was to be expected with the season becoming a little bit more tricky with this season as well, as that was kind of requested. Now, you don't know this, but Amigos was known for its crazy weather back in the day.
Okay.
We
Yeah, I got
used
the
to-
vague impression from the conversation with Chris earlier.
Yeah, no, we used to have races where it would be dry for 15 minutes and then turn into heavy rain for 15 and then go back to dry again. It was entertaining, but it definitely wasn't the easiest thing to drive on. Now, at least it's now consistent. You still find yourself with a question here. I can actually show it if I move the HUD over. For example, Darren Christie's on dries right now, right? As it shows next to his name. He's on dry tires. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's another driver somewhere out there. Maybe, for example, some of the Cup drivers. For example, this one, yeah? Richard Christie's on wets. So with the track being damp, it's kind of that turning point of conditions. Like, do I want to go onto the wet or to the dry tires? Which is add an extra element into the strategy of the race.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that a bit before the stream, and I think...
Sorry, what'd you say? My dad came in.
No, it's no problem. My Discord glitched out at the same time, so I was kind of just waffling as I tried to... Something about this, figuring out which types of time, what exactly we're doing with them.
Oh, wait, I think I'm losing kind of connection to you, my friend.
Oh,
It's
am I
lagging.
still...
No, you were lagging a little bit there, but I think it's a little bit better now at least. But yeah, no, it's definitely not the most stable it's ever been. Yeah, anyways, I don't know what you were asking or saying because I couldn't fully understand it, but you're free to ask the question again.
No, I don't quite know. Something about tires, mostly. Just keeping up with that.
Yeah, wet tires and dry tires are both options. Kind of depends on what you want to be trying. Damp is kind of that swapping over point. So when you see that the track has gone damp in the top right of your screen, you know that both options are doable. And therefore, it's just a matter of preference, right? Do I want to risk my tires getting hot on the wet tires, or do I want to just hope that I don't get onto any of the wetter spots on the drier tires? It's
Right.
kind of up to the driver. But obviously, as drivers are laying down rubber as well, I do think that the drier options might be a better one towards the end of the race. Considering that the track will be grippier in itself as well, with the cars, able to put away a lot of those wet spots as well, right? Because obviously you move that water quite far away with your tires. So for me, I'd like to be on the dry tires perhaps towards the end, but obviously in the beginning that most definitely wasn't the case. So I think you could make a valid argument for both, but just an extra choice here just makes another decision the driver's gonna have to make. And well, what do you decide to do? It is always difficult, no matter what you choose. And I think right now, and I'm not sure what the actual statistics are, but my guess would be that the Porsche Cups are mainly on wets and the GT3s are mainly on dry tires by now.
Right. Yeah, I could sort of see that. I think based on what you were just describing. And 10 minutes here, so we'll have to see. Not really a decent amount of gaps down here near Ailing and Christie. Darren Christie, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this big battle right
late
now in the middle
battles.
field. Yeah. Baptiste defending for his life, but he's struggling in that Mustang. And now that was to be expected, of course. We've mentioned it multiple times. It is a car best described as a boat. That's a term that we like to use. And it's safe to say the older driver's been struggling, as I believe that is Matt Ailing making his way through now. But now on the exit, Baptiste got a little bit more power to work with in the fourth there. But is that enough? It doesn't appear to be, at least not for now. Maybe he'll be able to go side by side again, and he is gaining on that straight here. Maybe he'll go and send it over. Now he's considering it, but no, he's decided not to, which I think is the better decision, at least for now.
Yeah, well, if handling is the question here, then it's probably not the location that you want to be risking that in. As we saw that he could sort of pull it closer in certain scenarios, but don't think that tight corner is one of them.
I mean,
He's got to
if there's
contend
a
now
will,
with
there's a
Darren
way.
Christie right behind him. That's true. That's true. Although it sort of might throw things in the face of our driver safety question we were just talking about earlier. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always a fine balance between driving fast and driving safe. But I don't think because you drive fast doesn't mean you can like, you know, not can. I feel like if you can drive fast, you can still drive safe as well. But I think it's just mainly about how many risks are you willing to take here. Now, for example, also, we've got Frederiksen here in the mix, who's been leading the entire race, but he's not finding himself in a group where, you know, he's going to be trying to make his way around. There's Matt Ailing has gone really wide. That's no problem. But this is also going to obviously impact the battles that are happening around them, right? How do you make it your way past without hindering the drivers, but also the battling drivers? How do you ensure that you don't crash out the leader? Because that would just be the worst case scenario here.
Yeah, it's just not a good place to be if you're Frederiksen. Kind of scary. 5 minutes left sort of gets into that conversation we were having about sort of easing into the end of the race, especially if you're Frederiksen. You got a decent 10-second gap against some P2 there. Just want to maintain, not be in the middle of this insanity that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I think it's always going to be tough towards the end, right? Everybody's kind of tired at this point. Everybody's a little bit more prone to mistakes. Now, luckily, I want to say luckily the Lamborghini is gone, but it's actually not. So, how do you get your way past here, right? The Lamborghini has got a little bit of a gap here. The gap is 8 seconds, but Hanewich is in clean air and he's approaching. And he is gaining quite a bit of time here. He's got it down to a 7.7 second gap here, which was 9 seconds before. So Frederiksen here might be getting a little frustrated here because he really, really wants to get by as soon as possible. Where do you do so? Now, there's 5 minutes left here. Juik has let go of Jacobs at least. Jacobs has made his way past and is now P10. But, well, as Baptiste here. Oh no, what has happened? We've gone into the wall. I want to see that one again. Driving separately. But what has happened? It's hard to tell, really. They're side by side, make it through the corner, and no, there they go, and into the wall. Such a shame towards the end of the race. As I think have I lost connection? Radio, you still here?
I think I'm still here.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure how much you cut off there. As Harry Howard's now also been spun around here, so it's getting a little chaotic towards the end there. 2 crashes in a row. Or well, 1 crash and a spin, I suppose. But even then, it's not going too great here. As I most definitely seem to be struggling now with the connection. So, don't know if that's on my side or on your side here.
I can still hear you, so
okay,
I'm not
that's
sure
good.
which one it is.
Yeah,
You can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now again.
Okay.
I couldn't
good,
before, which is well, I was like, wait, why do you like start talking after I drop a silence? But I guess you did, but I just never got it up.
It was a strange few minutes there, and then I think something happened, and then the race went crazy. So I was like, I'll just disconnect. You talk about the Baptiste, what exactly happened. I think we're back now to finish things off.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a couple minutes left here as Dominic Gies is now also under scrutiny as Simon van der Weijgaard is getting closer now. However, now Porsche Cup isn't looking to give up so easily. Or now, obviously, Simon van der Weijgaard is entitled to space, but he got to ensure that he leaves space as well for Dominic Gies, which I'm not sure that actually was the case. Now, that is obviously protestable as well, even though there was no contact. Although I don't think it's going to be as big of an impact as both drivers are driving in separate classes here, so I don't think it's worth investigating, although it's worth noting, I think, as well. Now, this is Neil Archer here, very close to Harry Howard, and obviously Harry Howard's had a little bit of an incident towards the end of the race. And now he's driving that damaged Aston Martin. That's not going to do his aero department any good here, as he's just struggling to get it around the corner. Meaning that now Harry Howard has unfortunately had to let Neil Archer go, as Darren Christie is looking to do the exact same thing here as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to give if you're Harry Howard here. I mean, you can see it a mile away. Although he's not the only one. Even unless I'm misseeing things here, Darren Christie looks a little banged up as well. He's just going to take past Neil Archer there. All a little bit of a result of that earlier chaos, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that incident towards the end there, that's going to be a big impact as well towards the end result. I mean, he's had to let 2 drivers go as a result. And, well, it's obviously a little bit heartbreaking as well. Nothing that you can do about it, however. And I'm afraid you're just going to have to shake it off for now. It is what it is. Not much you can do about it. And, well, focus on getting that car across the line there. There's 38 drivers remaining, so we have seen a couple other disconnects here. So I'm struggling to kind of find who's been here at the start, but now isn't there anymore.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it entirely. Who were we following?
Did we lose Chico Lanevar, perhaps? I think we might have lost Chico Lanevar. Yep.
Did we lose, Britt? Did we lose Britt as well, or am I just seeing this
Britt
wrong?
Batiste, I mean, he did get touched and he did get sent to the wall, as we see in the background. Who was that? I am not sure I caught who that was, but somebody went off massively. It's car number 23.
Wright.
Is that Alistair Wright was gone off? What position
Wright
is he in? I
off.
can't find him.
He's 28 right now.
Oh no, what a shame.
And
In the last lap of the race, no less.
yeah, way off there. Looks like Van der
Van der
Weijgaard
Weijgaard.
there. Van der Weijgaard, thank you.
Yeah, it's a very Dutch or Belgian name, so I understand why you struggle with it.
I was trying to remember how you said it earlier, but yeah, he's gonna pass him.
And I also kind of like say it, yeah, I don't say it properly either. I kind of pronounce it a little bit too quickly as well for you to kind of fully catch along. But it's Van den Weijgaard. As once
Van
again,
den
number
Weijgaard.
14 is now also gone into a spin here. And it seems to be messy here. That was Thomas Merrifield, who's now standing still, waiting for everybody to pass him so he can turn around and Maggots and Backets, which is probably the worst place to go off here. Luckily, everybody else has avoided him, and he can continue his race regardless.
Oh wow, so much going on here at the end of this race. It's hard to keep up with everything that's happening. Just seems like
Another driver's gone off. Oh no, they haven't.
No.
But 29 has lost a little bit of pace. He wasn't going off, but yeah,
that's
messy.
key there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that was to be expected, of course. Now, it looks like Terje Frederiksen has kept things clean the entire race around here, ladies and gentlemen. Your winner of the opener here at a very wet Silverstone is going to be Terje Frederiksen from Norway, coming across the line in an absolute dominant fashion. But now, it's not over yet here. Elliot Watts here still chasing through the last corner, but I think Hanewicz should just have it as long as Sylvain Pastorius doesn't get in the way. Hanewicz second, Elliot Watts third, as is now waiting for Gilroy to come in as well.
Only a few more gaps here of any note. Looks like Ewig versus Sander Jacobs might be the closest we have to any final competition here. As race control's giving me a bit of a trouble here. Hold on.
It's alright. It will be Konchik P5, and then it's Matthew Gamble and Plate as well. Nico Handke to come in next, but we've still got Juik versus Jacobs here as well. It's going to be Handke in P8, David Hill to cross the line in P9 soon, and then Jacobs just ahead of Oliver Juik here as well. They've both done a massive job, and unfortunately the Dutchman will come out ahead here, as now it's Kari Martinikan who's next up as well. Dan Pickles is a little bit too far back, I'm afraid, to try and go for a move. Therefore the Finn finishes in P12. I just realized the potential for a pun here that I just should have done.
Well, let's have next race.
Yeah, gotta keep that one in mind. Finishing and finish. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why my mind didn't cross that earlier. I feel like that's such a no-brainer, but well.
I didn't even realize he was finished, so we'll have to use
Yeah.
that one.
I'll change the before next week, like after the race is over in a bit. I'll immediately go and change the what's it called? The call sheet as well to be fully accurate here. As Starkey's finished P14 and Tommaso Bocci actually not late for once. Gianluca was making fun of it a little bit earlier, but yeah, it's P14 for him. As then it's our to come in as well, and I think that should be everybody across the line then. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure here. I believe everybody's come in. Yes, that is the case. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream here. Season 16 is promising to be a banger here. Now, if you've missed it, don't be sad. We'll be back next Monday as well with another race, which will be at Nürburgring GP, which I can't wait for. Alex, do you have any final words before we come to an end there?
That is it for me. I want to thank everyone so much for joining us, sticking through the technical issues there. But overall, really fun race, and I'm looking forward to next week. Should be another great one if this is how this first week went.
Yeah, next week up, we've got mixed conditions, as Chris Tedder has told us. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be all fair. My name is Ricky DC, joined you by Radio. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna